Okay, I'm going to film taking a starter out of a 2003 Acura TL. I saw some others online, but not for this specific year, so I thought I would record it. I'm not an auto mechanic. I just learned how to do alternators, starters, and things like that growing up. And I think my starter's bad, so I'm going to take it out and go get it tested. The issue that I'm having is when I turn the ignition with the key, nothing happens. There's no sound, there's no anything. I tested the battery's fine. Alternator should be fine. All the lights work, the horn works, everything, but there's just no sound or anything. I checked the negative battery lead to make sure that the ground wire was still okay, because those can go bad, and it tested fine. Tested that with a digital multimeter. And I tested I checked all the fuses that were the ones I needed to check, and all of those were fine as well. So I need to take the starter out and check it. Okay, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but my camera doesn't do really good with low lighting areas, but it's what I've got. Anyhow, here's the battery here, and I'm going to take that out, and the starter is down right there. Okay, my battery leads have a 10mm socket adjustment, so I'm just going to loosen those. I'll take the positive off first, and then I'm going to take the negative off first, and I'm going to take this right out. Okay, now that the battery is out, the starter is right in there, and this plate that holds the battery up is in the way. So you can see the bolts. There's one in the corner there, two there, two there, and one there. I need to take those out to have better access to the starter. Okay, I got those 6 bolts out. Here they are. They do not have a nut on the other side, so that's the good news. You don't need to be reaching your hand down around there to catch those. I don't think I mentioned earlier, I've never taken the starter out of this Acura. I've taken many starters out of other cars that I've had, but this one's never gone out. But I figured as I learn, you'll learn as I go through this. So I got those bolts out, and I'm realizing before I can take this plate off, it is connected right there as well. So I'm going to need to loosen this bolt to release that, pull it out, and get that plate out. So I used a 10mm on this bolt here. I loosened it. It also doesn't have a nut on the other side, which is great. So now I can take that off there, and this plate should come out. Nope. Looks like it's also connected to this. So I'm going to have to loosen that up. It's not held on by a bolt, but just have to work through that and get it undone, and then that'll come out. So what I decided to do, rather than loosen it off of this water reservoir here, is just take it off with the reservoir. Take this out, disconnect the hose from here. There's like a little clip that holds that in. Just pull that out, and then everything just lifts right out, like so. Okay, so now I have easy access to this starter. I've got the plate out of the way, which was resting on these. Starter's here. So I need to take this off. This looks like a clip here. I'll need to take this off, which is held on by a bolt, and then I'll need to take this off right there. And once I have those off, then there should just be 2 main bolts, a top one and a bottom one, and it should slide out. We will see if it's that easy. Okay, well, somebody's been in here before. I'm not the original owner of the car, because I took this clip off. It's hooked to this part of the starter here. There's a little clip piece that sticks out, or that's supposed to, and you lift it up and pull it out. Well, this one was broken off, so I had to stick a screwdriver under it and pry it up so it would pull out. Anyways, you pull it up and then take it out. You do not push it down and try to pull it out. That's not going to work. So now that I have that clip off, I'm going to now get this off of the starter. Going to pull that back. That's looks like a 12 millimeter. Anyways, I'm going to take that off, unscrew it, and come right out. And then I'm going to take this off here, which looks like it's just it's not held on by a bolt. It looks like I'll just be able to take it off and pull it out. Okay, I did get this off with the 12 millimeter. I kept the bolt on, but this part is disconnected. And then this part here, it really does just pull right out. It didn't even give me a hard time at all. I just pulled it out. It's like a little clip that goes onto this metal piece. So, now I need to get it on. Let's see if I can find it with this camera. There's a couple big bolts. There it is. I need to get that bolt out. And then there's going to be one similar size on the bottom side of the starter. And once I have those two out, the starter should just pull right out towards me. Okay, so it is a 17 millimeter. And it's got quite a reach in there. I can't just stick a normal socket in there. I've got this extension on my wrench, so I'm going to add that on, put on this 17 millimeter. I'm going to go get it that way, see if I can get both of those out. Okay, so my wrench with the extension didn't work. There was just too much distance and it just wouldn't get on. It was just too wobbly on the outside. So what I've done, I found I can get a smaller wrench in here through these two tubes, get it right there on that bolt, like so, which still is super small. I can't get enough leverage, so I get my handy cheater bar. I always have this in the trunk. And I'll slip it over. I'll see what happens, but slip it over this wrench. See if I can't loosen it. There it goes. So I got that loosened. Cheater bar, small wrench, 17 millimeter. Stick it between these hoses. Came right undone. Okay, in my experience with starters, there's always at least one blind bolt, meaning I can't see it, I just can feel it. So I got the one up here loosened, and then there's one the same size directly under the starter here, about in the center, directly on the other side of it. So I'm going to get that extension out and just have to work with it with extensions and make it work. And I'll probably end up using the cheater bar to loosen it as well. Okay, I did get my wrench under it with an extension. Got it connected. Can kind of see where it's going under. And I got my cheater bar on top of this thing and it came right undone. So now I'm just going to loosen it and hope I don't drop the bolt somewhere. Okay, so I got it out. Here's again what we disconnected. We disconnected that little clamp from this. The bolt here and the little wire connection here. And then there's bolt number 1, which is the smaller bolt up here, and then right underneath through this is bolt number 2, which is a longer bolt. Threads are about the same, it's just a longer piece that goes clear in to the engine block. But anyways, that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to take it down to AutoZone to have it tested and see if I've taken this off for nothing. Okay, so the starter tested bad, it failed. So I got a new starter here at AutoZone. One thing to note about the new starter doesn't come with this little bracket here. So I compared them. This bracket is what that clip went on. So you'll want to take it off before you give it over to them, or you won't have something to clip that on. Not that you couldn't drive without it, but it'd be nice to get it back. So make sure you don't lose this piece in changing it out if you have to get a new starter. Okay, first off, you need to get this back in. So you'll need your 2 bolts the shorter one that goes on the top, the larger one that goes on the bottom. And you want to put it in like this, the solenoid being on the top. It's not like this. That's not going to work out. Anyways, so that's how we'll get it back in, and it's going to take a little bit of time to line these up because you can't see very well. It's kind of a pain if you haven't done these before, but it ends up working out. Just get that, place it in position, get that top one in, and then you'll have, the bottom one will be the hardest because you can't see it. But you just kind of feel around for it until you finally, till the threads eventually catch. I'm sure there's tricks, but I don't know them. Okay, so I got the top bolt in. It went in pretty easy. I just put this into place. It kind of slides into the hole in the side of the engine there, and then I lined up the bolt and was able to thread it in with my hands. Now I'm going to take some time and try to get this bolt underneath to catch underneath. Once I get that, then I'll just tighten them down and go from there. Okay, so I got those two bolts on. It actually wasn't that bad at all. I'm lining those up with the threads. Now I need to reconnect this wire here onto this little prong, the starter. Then I'm gonna let's see here. Oh, this here needs to hook or bolt on to where this bolt is of the starter. It needs to go back on there. And then I will reclip this wire onto this bracket here. Okay, now before I put everything back together, I'm going to make sure that this works. So I got this wire on and I connected this piece. Connecting this wire back to here isn't going to affect the starter or the issue at all. So, and before I put back the plate and bolt it in place and everything, and put this water tank back here, I'm just going to put the battery right here. I'm going to hook it up and I'm going to see if it starts. So carefully put this battery in here. Whoops, I've got that backwards. Turn it around. I'm going to hook up this negative, the positive. Going to snug them down just a little bit. And I'm going to see if this car starts. Okay, issue resolved. So I'm now going to take the battery back off and put the other parts back in. Okay, the first thing I need to put back is this, the plate that the battery rested on. So just get a couple things out of the way, get these leads out of the way, put this down in there, line up the holes, which, let's see, they line up pretty easily. Just line them up and get, it's like 1, 2, 3, it's 9 bolts. Get those back in, and then I'll put in the battery and put this back in the water tank. I bought some more 50/50 to put because I'm kind of low, and just about done. Okay, so I got the plate in. It has a bolt up here, 2 here, 2 there, 1 back here. Don't forget about this little bolt here. It's a little bracket. It's a 10mm to put that back on as well. And then take this and you put it back here. I'm going to put some more 50/50 in it. But anyways, that will go on. This little hose here goes back into this holder. Just push it on there. And then I have this. This wasn't at the beginning of what I was showing because I'd already been testing the battery, but I have this battery holder that will slide back down in here, and then I'll put the battery on and hold the battery down with this bracket that holds the battery in place. So that's it. I know that the starter works. The starter was the issue, and that's essentially how you get a starter off and back on in a 2003 Acura TL.